after God had spoken to Moses and said, I have seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. Now, there are three verbs here that I want us to get a hold of, that it tells us something about God. At first it says, I have surely seen the oppression of my people. So that God sees what's going on. The second thing he says, I have heard their cry. So we know that the God who is revealed here is not blind, nor is he deaf, nor is he ignorant, because he goes on to say, because I know of the sorrows that they have borne. And so then he announces to Moses the purpose of this divine visitation. He said, so I have come down to deliver them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them out to the place of milk and honey, and so on. And he said, come now, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you might bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Now, the first thing that Moses says to God in response to this is a question. Moses' question is this: who am I? All of a sudden, Moses apparently doesn't know who he is. He hears this mandate from God. God is telling him to go on this mission in God's behalf and behalf of the people. Moses said, who am I to do this? So the first thing that happened in his encounter with God was he became confused about his own identity. If you've ever read Calvin's Institutes, and if you answer that question by saying no, then I respond to you, shame on you. You're missing one of the most beautiful pieces of literature ever written on the things of God, second only to the Bible in terms of the majesty of this book. You need to read it and reread it. And then when you're done with that, read it again. But Calvin begins the Institutes by saying, we never know who we are until we first know who God is. Again, remember in Isaiah 6, after Isaiah saw God high and holy and lifted up and heard the angelic chorus of the three times holy, what was his response? He pronounced a curse upon himself, saying, woe is me, for I'm a man of unclean lips, and I'm not alone. I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, because for the first time in his life, dear ones, Isaiah found out who God was. And at the same time, for the first time in his life, he found out who Isaiah was. If you've ever read Calvin's Institutes, and if you answer that question by saying no, then I respond to you, shame on you. You're missing one of the most beautiful pieces of literature ever written on the things of God, second only to the Bible in terms of the majesty of this book. You need to read it and reread it. And then when you're done with that, read it again. But Calvin begins the Institutes by saying, we never know who we are until we first know who God is. And that's what Calvin is getting at. He said, if we just look at ourselves and then judge ourselves among other people around us and compare ourselves with each other pretty soon we will have such an inflated view of our own greatness. That is, as long as our gaze is fixed to the earth. But if by chance we would lift our eyes to heaven, we would see the brightness of the sun, into which we cannot gaze directly, for it would destroy us. But as soon as we consider what kind of a being God is, then immediately, as the holy men of old did, we tremble as we are aware of our feet of clay and of our frames of dust.
In the land he has promised to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. God of Abraham, we wait upon you. Speak to us.
What is wrong with people who want to truncate the gospel? What is wrong with people who want to alter the gospel? They're too invested with their own power. It's when you know you are impotent and utterly powerless, clay pot, that all the power resides in the truth of the gospel. Preachers, I see them on television with massive crowds of people. They are impotent. They are weak. They have no effect on anyone in any eternal sense. They draw crowds, people laugh, clap, full of sound and fury, signifying spiritually absolutely nothing. As long as you think you have the power, you are powerless. When you have been broken and recognize your own impotence, you're useful.
So Moses has this momentary encounter with the holy. And the closer he gets, the more afraid he becomes. And when he hears the voice of God, and the voice of God sends him on a mission, wait a minute. Who am I that I should go on this mission? And so God said, I will certainly be with you. He doesn't really answer Moses' question as to who Moses is. He just said, don't worry about who you are, because I'm going to be with you.